Welcome to Studio 58A Live here at the Jamaica Information Service, our discussion program coming to you live on Facebook. I'm your host, Vaughn Davis. Thank you to everyone joining us online wherever you are around the world. We do appreciate it. Thank you very much. And as you watch, remember to send in your questions and your comments so we can put them to our guest. And like how we have your attention, please just do us the same favor we always ask. Share this video with as many people as possible, 1,000 if you can, so we can have a nice wide reach and a very lively discussion. Now, it's been one of the most consistent messages coming out of the government for the past few years. Entrepreneurship is the key to Jamaica's economic growth and development. The more people there are creating jobs for themselves and others, the more active and buoyant the economy becomes, and naturally, the better our country will be. To help spur entrepreneurship, the Development Bank of Jamaica, one of the best friends to the micro, small, and medium-sized businesses out there, a few years ago introduced the National Business Model Competition. Participants submit their business plans to be judged by a distinguished panel of experts, with the victor walking away with $2 million cash and an all-expense-paid trip to the U.S. to represent Jamaica in the International Business Model Competition. Here today to tell us more about his business and his experience at the National Business Model Competition is Jordon Freeman, 2019 National Business Model Competition winner. Welcome, Jordon.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Wonderful. Now, Jordon, what made you decide to enter this competition in the first place?
Well, I saw it as a platform to get real validation on what I'm doing and to also get expert advice from the judges, from the coaches and the mentors, because it's a training program that allows you to see beyond what you're doing as in the sense of business, not only to solve a problem, but is it viable? Can it really solve the problem on a commercial stage in a scale-up matter? And that is the reason why I went to the National Business Model to allow for that process to happen. And if we're able to win, which we did win, then that also gives us greater validation that what we have is quite accepted.
Now, what exactly is your business all about? Give persons an idea so that they can tune in and if they see you, lend their support where necessary.
Okay, so we're actually doing a biodegradable plastic. The project is actually called JA Bioplastic, and we make biodegradable plastic that is able to dissolve readily in the environment, whether in water or in the soil. Right, the organism of the earth would eat, or plants will eat at it, and it recycles back into the environment, and we take back that agriculture produce to create the plastic. So our plastic affords a substitute to the ban, but it feels and look, the aesthetics is just as the normal traditional plastic. However, the issue with the plastic is that theirs don't dissolve readily in the environment. Ours will, and it's actually provide additional revenues for farmers and other persons that look at do agriculture.
All right, so basically you're using raw materials or let's say discarded materials or so,
yeah, you could look
at what the farmers produce and
or
you
even,
take that,
or even surplus. Like
okay.
they may because based on what information from agricultural departments or agencies, they are saying that quite a few farmers are facing the issues where they're plant their crops, don't have any market to go to, and because of that, it's being wasted.
Right.
So not just only the peels and the discarded aspect, but the surplus that they can't get.
The
probably
whole
it's damaged.
plant itself, or the whole fruit, vegetable, whatever the case may be.
So it might be damaged and not fit for consumption, not suitable for the aesthetics for market, the hotels. That we're able to take that in exchange for revenues for them. So
all right, that's a fantastic thing, especially with the new normal of the plastic ban, especially that's going on right now.
Yes.
People are looking for those alternatives. I
Yes.
can just imagine maybe even the food. So what kind of things do you make with, or what kind of things are you making? What kind of products does your company produce for consumption?
Well, the plastic. Well, we just create the for now we're looking at the packaging, single-use packaging, because we believe that there's a reason why we started to use plastic. It's the convenient, it's really light, and it has certain type of properties. So we're saying that let's go forward and just remove the issue that is with our traditional plastic. It's not natural, it's petrol-based, and it causes pollution, it stays long in the environment. So we're giving it same plastic, same convenience, same feel. Only thing is that it will readily degrade in the environment. However, it can go further by producing forks, spoon, like other cutters, straws, yes.
Things like that.
Yes. So those single-use plastic in general, anything that you use now and to throw away, we can substitute that. However, our major focus point is really the packaging. That's where we started from, and that is where we want to get over that hurdle first, and then the others will come after.
How young or how old is your business, if you don't mind me asking?
To be honest, I prefer to say at this time that project that has the potential to become a very scalable business.
Sounds like a really good scalable business. Yeah.
So it's quite young. I would say 8 months.
Okay.
Within
cool.
a year, so a year old basically, because
All
all the analysis and the R&D was going on during that period.
All right. So in terms of your long-term outlook, I mean, naturally you just talked about being able to provide and tap into the single-use plastics market. But where do you see this project going? I guess maybe a year from now, 2 years from now, that kind of thing. Where do you see yourselves in this particular venture?
Well, we'd want to be, I guess, Jamaica's first, or the Caribbean's first company to produce the resins that the manufacturers can use. Because we don't really make resins, we import the resins. And that scientific development is very important to Jamaica, as I believe, because our resources may not be able to supplement, but what we want to do is now tap into other countries, because we have interest from other countries, from India, Africa, England, who has been calling in or asking that when it will be ready, you know, they will love to support it. But their demand can't fit Jamaica in terms of what we can supply to them. So we'd want to see ourselves basically franchising into the other countries, like India. They have the resources, and they could make it there and supply their region. So it's like basically you're having Facebook, and just everybody across the world can use Facebook when the person is in one country.
Right.
So that's the objective.
That sounds pretty impressive, not gonna lie. Very, very impressive, and very timely, very useful. You know, I mean, very effective. I can see why the judges were impressed.
Thank you.
So speaking about that, can you talk to me about the experience of the competition, getting yourselves ready, going through all the stages and so on, and then submitting it, and then, you know, waiting for the people. What was the experience like for you and your partners and so on?
I would say it was very difficult. I mean, you would have to do the business model canvas. It is a presentation, 10 minutes, but those slides can go up to 50 plus, and you have to now condense that, because you have to go and get validation, and validation is taking the business outside of the canvas, the paper itself, and going to ask persons to say, would you be willing to do this? Would you like to be a partner? Would you want to be the channel, the distributor? So you can propose or hypothesize on the document itself that this is what the process would entail in certain business, but no, you have the validation. No, you have to now go outside and go and ask the real persons that, is it true? Would you really do this for me? You might get a yes or no. If you get a no, that's where we say it's a pivot. Right. And you have to explain, you have to say that when you're presenting to the judge. So we were grilled and saying, say pivot here. So for example, for me, I believe that when I started that, we would sell the plastic bags directly to the end users. But what we found out after validating some of them, they do believe that the plastic bags and plastics in general is affecting the environment. However, would they really go and spend money to buy the bioplastic that would solve that problem? And most of what came out is that really and truly they wouldn't really go their way. It's not like, oh, it's an urgency to say, okay, I would really want this product, sell me a bioplastic. They just, whatever is available, they would use. So what they're saying is that unless it's thrusted upon them by manufacturers or the suppliers, the policymakers in the environment, then they would go out in their own way to, you know, they have a choice, so they have to buy it. So I said, okay, then they can't be my end users on the document anymore. So I had to say, I pivot. You know who I went to speak to? The manufacturers. And the manufacturers were interested in actually getting the raw material themselves, and they make the product. Because why reinvent the wheel?
Exactly.
When they already have expertise in making these products. So what the problem that they have is really just, how do I create plastic that are biodegradable by getting biodegradable raw materials that can be used to
so they can keep their business model going. You can just tap into their business model and just keep it and just sync and everything, just keep working.
That wouldn't have happened if the business model canvas wouldn't provide that forum for us, that environment for us to go and get that validation. I mean, most of us are shy to really go and ask these questions, and we learned a lot. So we have to say we learned here. And that was one of the biggest pivots that we had made in our presentation, that I see where the judges really, he said, wow, that sounds plausible. And because of that, I mean, that gave us an edge. So but definitely the preparation was difficult. We had to be at the university late at night, sometime up to 10, 11 o'clock, going home, because we have to be getting it right. I mean, we're very competitive. The university coaches, they're very competitive, and they're pushing it. Not just that they want to see you win, but however they want to see this. This is that they're working on.
Which university are you talking about?
This is University of the West Indies, UWI.
Right.
But other universities, they're also at that period
Right,
drilling their own members, but they also want to see us matriculate into operating and commercially scalable businesses.
Without giving away the secret to the sauce, because naturally
Yes.
I don't necessarily want to get into that. How did you find yourself in the bioplastics industry to begin with? You know, what sparked that interest and what made you want to get into that business?
Well, first, I would just want to say that I'm an innovative person. I do a lot of innovations. I'm also the 2018 Youth Innovator Award from the the Ministry of Science and Agriculture. That was in November.
Right.
So because of that, many of my friends and family, especially my father, who is, a stickler to support me in innovations, and he said, but there's a ban coming up, why don't find a solution? Because there was a lot of becoming what to do.
Right.
And he's saying, but you're an innovator. I said, boy, Daddy, I'm not really involved in that type of polymer making side of the science. So there was no interest. However, I love to solve problems. I mean, the battle was becoming heated between private sector and government. Being a science-based student from the biotechnology, Faculty of Science and Technology at University of West Indies. And I wanted to solve the problem. I went to do a lot of research, and then I was able to add, my innovations to what was already out there. And I saw the problem. The problem was just really get it biodegradable and natural. People looking for natural, and that was, I used the science. I was able to create it from there. I mean, thanks to my father for that push and drive to really innovate something along that line. That's why I end up in the polymer or the plastic bag area.
We're here talking with Jordon Freeman, 2019 National Business Model Competition winner, talking about his JA Bioplastics?
JA Bioplastics.
Right, and the company who is trying to solve the issue of providing biodegradable plastic for members of the public to use. A very, very useful initiative, and as he just said, it all came from the idea to solve problem, which is essentially the purpose of entrepreneurship. Yes. So, I mean, if you're at home right now with an idea, you see, he saw the ban, he saw it as an opportunity thanks to your father, of course, and so you took advantage of that, and so the ball is really in your court. You can see a problem. He wasn't even interested in plastics.
No,
but
not at all.
There he just saw an opportunity and decided to go full force, and there you have it. He's winning the National Business Model Competition. So right away, that just tells you that the drive has to be there. If the interest is there, you don't even necessarily have to be interested in the subject matter itself, but you bring the right attitude, you can have the results. Now, which makes me want to talk to you now about looking ahead to the international competition.
Yes.
What are your thoughts of that? How are you preparing? How is that? How are you expecting that to go?
Well, I know that I will be competing with 40 teams that are coming from around the world, from top institutions, Harvard and the other lists. Yeah. And I'm not intimidated. However, we want to be very humble and ensure that we do and make all preparations that we can make here locally. Get all the support, mentorship, coaching, and I will say it has been very difficult because each university that is going to represent there, they are putting their best out. So yes, we work very hard for the national business model, but we are now the work, I would say, turn up because I mean it's really difficult. It's because when you have the validation that we got, we know we have to go look for international validation.
Right.
And not only that, getting the international validation is not that easy because you have to present plausible solutions for them to really take that on. And however, you have to look at that. Other persons are coming with ideas that are outside of plastic. It's maybe in technology. So then again, I mean, this is where we become very competitive now in the fact that how far can we take this project to a level where it will match whichever field that they're bringing in their business. It have a chance. And we know we're solving a global problem, and that is what is giving us the edge right now because even America, they themselves don't even have they cannot recycle themselves out of their plastic pollution. Okay. Even though they have good management system, there's so much plastic that if they want to recycle, it's only 8% is being recycled global that they're producing. Only 8%. So it's a global problem. We know we have a winning idea, winning product. I've made samples already. I've validation from scientific members, from the professor Mona Weber from the University of West Indies. She's also supervising me on my research also. However, but preparing that business model canvas itself, it's not easy because you have to come good, and because we know what is going to be presented there at that level. I'm just saying that the coaches are like, hey, they won last year. You got there's a lot of hype around it. So for me to really ensure that I take home the trophy back to Jamaica.
Which, of course, you
yes,
which we are speaking into being right now.
Amen. We have to. Yes, so the work is going to be very hectic going in because I mean, for me, I'm a team member. We don't really sleep until the battle has been won. So
very good. Very
yes,
good,
so we've been working very hard.
So I mean, there you have it again. I mean, this is the kind of stories that we like to have here on this show. We like to provide a platform to demonstrate that with the right drive, with the right determination, you can achieve what you want. You can. Opportunities are out there, but they're not going to come knock on your door and say, present themselves and say, hey, come take me. You know what I mean? You have to go out there and get them.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so with the international business model competition, there's a lot more work and a lot more preparation. But as them say in Jamaica, if you want good, your nose off run. Online right away, Ines Parks is saying, great job, young man, with a big Jamaica flag. So we already have a supporter there as much as those are here with you.
Yes.
No, in terms of this, I mean, I don't know if you want to call, I mean, I would call you an entrepreneur.
Yes.
I mean, at this point, I know that what you're doing is, I mean, at this stage, you might not even feel like it's a full-fledged company, but you're going through the journey, you're going through the paces, you're going through the experiences, because I'm sure what you're going through is very similar to what any other startup or any other entrepreneur would tell you. So the question is, what are some of the lessons that you have learned in your experience that you can share with others who are interested in taking this similar step?
Okay. First thing is that don't put yourself into a bubble by saying that because you're limited to this particular field, so you don't look outside. And many times it's opportunities that are on the outside that present themselves, that the same skills that you've been applying in your bubble, you can apply to solve other problems. And that is what gives it attention, that gives it the traction out there. And so don't put yourself in a bubble. Think outside the box. Also, determination is very key because, I mean, when doing a startup and right off the bat, you're not going to solve the problem. You're going to fail several times. So the determination will kick in to say that you have a goal and objective, you have put the research together and you want to apply them to solve a problem. And also, I think being patriotic is also important. I mean, I love my country, and as a science-based student, I'd want to see more scientific innovations coming out of the island. So, I mean, that has put a responsibility on me to ensure that I go out there to solve problems, because it helps to show Jamaica on a scientific platform that we too can innovate. So,
rubbing shoulders with the big wig, solving world and
global problems, not just tourism and athletics, but we are now we're talking global scientific issues, and Jamaica can be a part of that discussion, not because we're small, but our brains, our minds, our human resources is very big.
I think at this time you should probably big up your team. I'm sure it's not just you alone, it's a big team. I mean, can you just big up your members of the team so that they can get practice? I mean, you're here now, but I'm sure you're just probably the face, but there's a whole team behind the scenes. Who are some of those people? Well,
Samantha William is my core teammate. That is a part of the team. So we're the ones that have entered the competition. To be honest, the other persons that are part of the team would be the coaches and the mentors, and they definitely have to get a lot of big up, because from a science base to convert it to business, that's the transition that many of us have a problem with, and that's the hard, and that is where our mentors and our coaches come in. And I want to big up Ashley Rose, Don Morgan, and Douglas Linda, who was from the University of the West Indies, who has provided a lot of mentorship and training to this point. Persons who have, like Trisha, who have passed through the curriculum, they also came back to give us support and to drive our innovation and the point home. I wanted to thank DBJ, who has put on the platform the National Business Model Competition. That platform has allowed many of us to really, if we weren't even thinking about entrepreneurship or business, to look into ourselves, look into our country or the world, and to find problems and to solve them and to turn them into commercial viable business, because we're in an economy where people are looking for jobs, especially science-based students. And many of the persons who have entered through the University of the West Indies competition, the preliminary competition, they are from the science department, and they're coming with a lot of great innovations and great ideas. And all this started because National Business Model Competition has provided that platform, because everybody wants to go to that. So there's some prestige that surrounds it. And I want to say thanks to the organizers. We have Miss Audrey, Miss Nelson, who are the major organizers, and other persons who are behind the scenes that have made this possible. Because without that, I mean, me sitting here today with this idea wouldn't have got the validation it needs. And also the judges who also have met with me after to give me a lot of advice on how we can do well going overseas.
All right. So as he said it, big ups to the Development Bank of Jamaica for this competition, this platform allowing youngsters to, not so much youngsters, but persons, entrepreneurs, to present their ideas in a way that they will get feedback, they'll get support, and they'll get information needed to take it from an idea to a sustainable business. So big ups to DBJ. If you want to get more information about the competition, you can contact them by visiting their website, which is dbankjm.com. Or you can call them at 929-4000. I think they're also on Facebook. You can look them up on Development Bank of Jamaica. So kudos to DBJ. And checking in online, Dawn Morgan sounds like one of your teammates. She's saying good. She's bigging up. Good job, Jordan.
Okay.
Eric G. Johnson is saying interesting. Valentino Roshane Anderson, well done, bro. I mean, so people bigging you up, showing you support. Candice Christine, STEM in Jamaica, well done to you and your team. Valentino Roshane Anderson, thank you again for 2 comments. Keep them coming, Valentino. We as young people need more help to get research done. That is a big problem. And you are right, Valentino. But definitely take advantage of whatever opportunities, whatever platforms that are available for you to present your ideas. And as they say, success is what happens when opportunity meets preparation.
Yes.
So you know how it goes already. Now you meant something that I picked up on. You said something that I picked up on a while ago. I wanted to get your feedback. Making the transition from product or idea to business.
Yes.
How was that process for you, and what are some of the lessons you learned throughout this competition that helps you, that you think other persons can benefit from, taking something from an idea or scientific concept to a full-fledged business? How was that transition for you, and what did you learn? What were your key takeaways from that process?
Okay. Well, I think it's going to be on both sides. One, I mean, with an average person just trying to solve a problem. But however, for science-based students who have been drilled in the arts of science and how it must be reported, there are certain laws that governs us. And it's very hard to break that because there are other laws that govern the business world.
Right.
So that transition for us as science-based students is kind of like to be hybridized, to get in between the both. And I mean, if you do, it's very good because you're now innovator along with by being a businessman. I mean, so you're a businessman that can innovate. So, but the issue is that we have to break the barriers that bound us to the science realm that would allow us to go across. And how we were able to get by. Well, for me, I do believe that the business competition that they put on, for example, the one at the University of the West Indies, the Vincent Hosang, the UWVC venture competition, they give you up to about, I would say, about 2 months of business boot camp, where you are given each category in one night.
Wow,
and it forces you, because you get a base of the basic information. Now you go out to read upon it to understand. And what that does for you is, now when you're creating the innovation and you now have the understanding, you don't need the whole understanding of the business world, but just some of the basic contents. Is it feasible? Economical? All of those questions now, because you start learning the basic, you now need to apply that when you're making. So don't bother use very expensive materials into the product.
Yeah.
And then again, we also want to look at, start off by creating what do you call it now? Prototypes. And prototypes are simpler versions of what it could look like and could be. And then now go out and verify that with the public. You are in your space saying that this is a solution. However, they may be wanting something a little different or probably totally different, and you have built out the whole system, and then you waste all the resources. So start by, even it means, for example, taking a popsicle. You have for example, you want to, let me use my example. So instead of taking go and making the bag, all of it one time and say, here it is, probably take a plastic bag, a same scandal bag, and ask them and just say that this plastic bag can offer this property. Would you buy it? It's degradable. If they was, really true that, you know what I mean? But then I say plastic bag go buy. If you mean to paint a different color just to give a different notion, but just to ask them, this is a plastic bag that can degrade, would you be interested? That's a lot of information you're getting there. They will tell you, no, not really. And you find that either they're the customer segment or they're not the customer segment. So you have to go out there. So validation, going out there before building the entire product, get the prototype vetted by the customer segment that you claim that they're the customers. And then, because remember, we wanted to give plastic bags as a product, but we now have pivoted from plastic bag to the resins. We move from customers to the manufacturers. And all of that, I mean, with my science-based background, I would have gone straight to the people. But with all of this bootcamp training and nurturing in the business side, it allows us to then tamper and to prepare the product in a particular way in the direction of the needs of the manufacturers or our customer segment.
Wow. See, there are people, I mean, as you said, I mean, that was just one big pivot, as you said there.
Yes.
Instead of bags, resins. And who would have thought? Because you would have clearly thought you were solving the obvious
Just problems, yes.
The bags. I mean, there you go. So once again, kudos to DBJ for providing this kind of platform and giving people that kind of insight, because I'm sure that is something many people struggle with, making that transition, seeing the business being 100% convinced.
Yes.
I know I have the solution.
Yes.
And we bring it to the people, they're like, nah, not really.
Yeah.
This is nah.
Yes.
I mean, no, again, to other persons who might be interested in entering the camp, having said all that, to persons who might be interested in entering the National Business Model Competition, what would you say to them? What would you say to them to prepare? What would you say to them to convince them to get themselves ready and go participate?
Okay. Well, first thing, definitely find a very big problem. Yeah, have a very big, and if what you have don't seem to be a very big problem, check it again. It's probably not seen, but that is where you have a platform to bring it out. So, and then also, if you're not a business person, ensure that you understand some of the business information that you can apply to the prototypes you're developing, and then also go out to validate that. Then you have to participate at your own school competition. That's either NCU, University of Technology, UWE, and so on. And the winners, they will select a few, I think up to 5-person teams, the top teams, to matriculate into the National Business Model. So you have to start with the university. So find a business school at your university, apply. It usually starts around the next term, which is September period, and they have some selection and training period up to December, January of the following year, and then they do their competition about January, February, and then they select their top 5 to represent them at the National Business Model Competition in about March, and then they would select the top winner at the National Business Model Competition to represent Jamaica in the international competition that is coming up in May 10.
All right, and you just mentioned that it was really tough and really difficult. Give them an idea of what they really have to look forward to throughout the entire process, working with the teams. You said late nights and some difficult work.
So definitely, if you plan on doing this, you have to ensure that you're really determined and you have a drive to see it through the end. And also remember, it's not just about winning the competition, it's going to be about starting a business. So that should be your first interest, that you're an entrepreneur or entrepreneurial mind, and you want to really get that training and that encouragement. But you have to definitely ensure that you are going to be committed to the process. You will be given training such as boot camps or training nights that may end way in the wee hours of the night. You'd have to be committed, and then you don't have enough time because the next day you will learn a new topic. And now to really apply that, you would have to then go back to the drawing board to update your product to meet what is required of you. Also, you definitely need to have committed team members, even if it's one extra person with you, so that they can support you or be at one of the boot camps while you are innovating. While going through all of that, you have to put your presentation together and be presenting to each other. Then you have after you are successful in your own university realm of the competition, then you know will proceed to the nationals, where the judges, your coaches will be coming from the university or the organizers of that event to start to prep you. And now that is where university become very patriotic to their to their own cause. So basically, it's going to get a little more hectic because they want you to secure the positions, the high positions, to go overseas to represent Jamaica. So they're going to press you hard. They're going to be drilling you. They're going to be telling you to get validation. And if you go for 10, your test vote, you go to talk to 10 different companies, they're going to say, go and talk to 10 more. So get ready for that. And it's not easy to go and talk to a company to find time to sit down with you from their busy schedule. So you would have to basically keep going, and you're going to hear no. You're going to be demotivating,
right,
but you know what you're doing, and you know that you're determined to see the process through the end and trust the process. Because, persons have come before me and they have done well. And I'm going through this process, and, I've been successful thus far and looking to be successful overseas. Right. Again, as the process has been doing well.
All right. It seems like your colleague Samantha Williams is checking in online. Thank you, Samantha. Really appreciate it. Wish you could have been here as well. JA Bioplastics, #road to IBMC. Let's go. You have our support. We want you to win. Definitely. The more you win, the more you can inspire other youngsters to participate. The more startups we'll have, the more entrepreneurs we'll have, and the better off the country will be. So we're definitely in support of that. Looking forward to all the work that you guys will do. Now, just to mention again also that the winners walk away with $2 million in cash and an all expense paid trip to the US to represent Jamaica in the International Business Model Competition. And just some more information about the National Business Model Competition itself is that it's organized at the local level by the Development Bank of Jamaica through its Jamaica Venture Capital Program and the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica. It's geared at reducing the failure rate of startup businesses. And it focuses on assessing customer interactions, then pivoting, very importantly, knowing when to change and change direction and so on, changing course based on the lessons learned. So there's a lot to walk away with, there's a lot to take away with from any young entrepreneur, any person who's interested in business, starting their own business and being that kind of person that the country can rely on and solving the major country problems. As he said it, he's a patriot. You're solving problems that Jamaica needs answers to. Which I suppose is the best place to start.
Most definitely.
Right. So I guess I'll give the last word to you. Once again, just let persons know what you're going into insofar as the International Business Model Competition is about, how you're preparing, and how they can lend support if they're interested.
Okay. Well, we are currently preparing ourselves for the International Business Model Competition. I mean, it's really grueling because even this evening tonight at 6:30, we'll be at the University of the West Indies. The Mona School of Business, and we'll be practicing and being trained by our coaches up to wee hours in the night. In terms of support, I mean, first thing, pray for us. I keep praying. You know, Jamaica will stick and pray for our success. And however, but for our product development, where we are is that we need to run some analysis on the product, meaning that we have the lab scale and what we say that it can do, it can be done. But what we need to test is the quality now, that it can then work in the traditional way how plastic normally work in terms of bulk size, scaling, to be producing, up to about 100,000 pounds of resins per month running through a process daily. Jamaica doesn't allow or doesn't have certain facilities like that to run those type of analysis. So we need to go where the equipments are located, and that is going to be overseas. The equipment actually costs almost 100,000 US. Wow. So it's quite a lot, as you can see, for that that analytical equipment. Jamaica doesn't have anything like that to test the plastic in terms of what plastic can do. So our objective is really to go to a lab overseas that can facilitate us. I mean, if any persons out there who may have connections or may have supports that are universities overseas or labs that can are in partnership or collaboration, I mean, the team is open to such invitations.
All right, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Jordon Freeman, JA Bioplastics, looking to go overseas and do some, I wouldn't say make history, but do the country proud. Coming back home with the winning championship or the first place in the International Business Model Competition. They have our support, and we hope you lend them their support. And if any of you watching this program now have any connections so that they can help assist with their specific issue of testing the resins and making sure that they can do much more than they say it can, we definitely ask you to reach out and lend the support, because they definitely did it, and we can definitely see the value in it and what it will do for the country and even the world. You know what I'm saying? It says the world. People as far as India are reaching out already to know what's going on and what they can do.
Yes.
We really thank you to everyone who's online. Oh wait, before I even go any further, big ups to the Development Bank of Jamaica for this for conceptualizing this competition and bringing it into the country that persons can take advantage and benefit and so on. As I said before, you can reach out to them at dbankjm.com to find out more information about the National Business Competition. I suppose you can reach out through your individual tertiary institution as well. University of the West Indies, UTEC, Northern Caribbean University as well, so you can get more information through that. But failing that, you can contact the Development Bank of Jamaica at 929-4000. Of course, you place 876 in front of that. All right, there's only left to just say thank you, Jordon, for coming and sharing information with persons out there. It has been very inspiring, especially for me. I appreciate those who are putting themselves out there as entrepreneurs, trying to solve major issues and just walking the road, because it's a very difficult and challenging road, but I can assure it's very fulfilling. In the end, right? So good luck to you and your teammates, and as a matter of fact, good luck. We know that you'll go over there and do Jamaica well and do Jamaica proud, and just we'll pray for you. We'll give you all the prayers you need. All right, so it's time for us to wrap. Thank you to everyone who tuned into our discussion, especially those of you who send in your questions and your comments. well, let me just take one here. I see one from Candice Christian. The desired equipment needs to find its way in the country. We shouldn't always depend on traveling out of the country to get help done. I agree with you. I'm sure you do as well.
Yeah, I do. But I mean, what can we do at this time? I mean, but if we can pass that hurdle by getting this resort, by going over there, learning and understanding, getting the product to start to commercialize, solving our immediate problem now, locally here, then those requirements, those facilities, equipments, we can start taking them into the island for R&D purposes. But Jamaica is not known to make plastic, so because of that, there won't have been any need. But now that there is, that innovations are coming from the island, mines like these are now being fostered, then facilities like these can now be looked at to bring them into the island.
I'm sure once you clear this hurdle and persons see the possibilities, then you'll start seeing the support pouring in and other persons opening their eyes and realizing the potential. You might see angel investors coming in and just deciding to help you, give you the support that you need. And that's a nod to you, angel investors, venture capitalists out there. This sounds like something that could go far, could warrant some investigation or come in. How do people, I mean, is there a number people can call you at or reach you at, or any specific way they can contact you at this point, an email address or something like that?
Most definitely. For my email address, it's Jordon Freeman, Jordon Freeman, Freeman, with a 1 in front of it, at gmail.com. So it's JordonFreeman1@gmail.com.
All right, there you have it. And as I said before, it's time for us to wrap. Thanks to everyone who tuned into our discussion, especially those of you who sent in questions and comments. We thank you for those. And if you sent in a question and we didn't get to answer it, or you have one and want to send, and we might wrap before you get to send it, not to worry. We will be going through and we'll be able to feed them to our guest afterwards. Remember, our audience plays a major part in our show. If there's anyone you'd like for us to have in studio, let us know, and we'll try our best to have that person in studio as soon as possible. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram at Jamaica Information Service to see who will be in studio next. We do this every Thursday live on Facebook. I've been your host, Vaughn Davis, and this has been Studio 58A Live. Thank you again for joining us, and please have a wonderful day.